What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. And hello everyone, welcome once again. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. Today I'm doing one on the burning bush, featuring the Bible book of Exodus, chapter 3, verses 14. This is the burning bush decoded. And notice, you have a rendition of the prophet Moses, who was a big deal in the Old Testament. And even in the Quran, he was the biggest hero in the Quran, man, if you read that book. But there's the bush that didn't burn, but it was the burning bush. And we're going to get into that. And what does this all mean? What does this all mean? My methods for decoding, primarily I use the Chaldean numerology. I use other different ciphers as well, but I can assure you it does not matter really which cipher you use. They all lead to the same origin. We can then take the results of the numerology that we get and we can then pull it into science and then bring alchemy into this, and that's where we get the spoken word broken down through the science aspect. And then of course we need a picture because we think in pictures, and that's where we can bring in the cards of the tarot and match that up with the numbers that we get that originated from numerology and led into science and get into the tarot. And then of course, got to use common sense. I see a lot of people, man, they don't have any common sense. They're stuck. And they're in for a rude awakening, man, if they don't become unstuck. But here we go, burning bush decoded. Now, again, here I'm using Gematria. We're going to be decoding Exodus 3, verses 14. Notice the big standout using the English ordinal. That total is the 96, which is the yin and yang. Quite interesting there. And then, of course, like I said, I'm using the periodic table, which is the Royal Society of Chemistry, and the tarot. These cards are embedded in nature, and we can use those to decode from. So we're going to be talking about primarily, this book here of Exodus chapter 3. You can read through this entire thing. I think this is super interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Reread this entire chapter 3. You can read the JW Bible. I got, this is the King James. It doesn't matter what Bible you use. They're all the same. What I thought was really, really interesting is that, 3 verses 2, it says, the angel of the Lord appeared in a flame of fire. So is this saying it's from the Lord, or is it the Lord itself? I read it as it's an angel from the Lord, because it says of the Lord. It's not saying it's the Lord itself. It's kind of really condescending as far as I'm concerned. And what's interesting when you keep reading this, and he comes into the bush and it's burning, and then it goes in saying, when the Lord saw what he turned to see, then it goes to God. I mean, why would you go from Lord to God? Why not keep it consistent? You go back to Genesis, and it says that let's make man in our image. It's plural, meaning more than one. And I know in my research, it's talking about the planets. And then, of course, you can get into mythology, and then you're getting into some interesting aspects. But anyway, when you read verses 14, this is when God says unto Moses, and again, who's God? Need to define that. I am that I am. I am. It's really the I am. But we're going to get into that. But what I'm really looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, is this here. This is big because the bush was on fire and the bush was talking to Moses. Now, bush in Hebrew, which is right there, is a 21:10:8. And when you break that down using alchemy, taking the spoken word into numbers and then bringing it into alchemy, going over the trusty calculator, it ends up adding up to the number 80, which is the element Mercury. And ladies and gentlemen, is Mercury not the planet of communication? Is Mercury not the one that supposedly tells us everything? It's the first planet in line right after Earth. Earth is 0. Mercury is number 1, the first planet. It communicates with all the other planets above it. And if this bush is talking to Moses and it says, it says right here, an angel of the Lord, well, is this the angel of the Lord? Is Mercury what we're talking about here? The bush is talking to Moses. And since Mercury is the planet of communication, doesn't it make sense that Mercury is the planet perhaps talking to Moses on behalf of what is called God? I mean, it says right here, God called unto him and started talking. That's what Mercury does. Mercury speaks, communication. Thought that was absolutely fascinating. What do you see, though? What do you see? I think it really says loud and clear what's going on in this verse here. And this is 3 verses 4. Really, really interesting. Now, the word I am, that I am, we can break it down just to I am, because which I'm going to decode the entire verbiage, but the I am really is the big standout. And I've decoded this before. I want to show it again, but the I am in the English ordinal is the number 9 and the number 14. It's actually 913, but in total it's the 9 and 14. And, interesting, this is the reason why Michael Jordan wore the number 23. It's the reason why LeBron James wears the number 23. And the 23 in numerology is called the Royal Star of the Lion, and that equals the number 69, the mirror of the 96. We're going to get more into that. But, what I thought was really interesting is this is 9 and 14, I am, in the English ordinal, and we come over to Chaldean, and the pineal gland, which is our third eye, is a 9 and a 14, equaling the number 23. I mean, this is really what we use to navigate, because when you meditate, which I'm hoping you do, but when you meditate, that's what you're using, is your third eye, your angina, and it has, the interesting part is, here's the shape of it. It has 96 petals, 48 distinct vibratory modes, splitting it down 48 and 48, and it's 96 separate energies. We're talking about the Royal Star of the Lion, which is 69, which is 96, and it's the I am. I mean, it's all connected. And, of course, keep in mind, here is the triangle of this is called the triangle of art. This is magic now we're getting into. For those of you who don't know, the triangle is about magic. It's the pyramid, of course, and then the number 3. And then, what's the third element in the periodic table? Well, when we come over here and we look, we have lithium. And, of course, lithium's average atomic weight is 6.9, which is the yin and yang, matching that of the 96, the mirror of that. So you see how important this is? How all these things link up? You got to start digging, man. You can't just use numerology. A lot of you just like to use numerology and call it a day, and it just doesn't work that way. It's not going to be hand delivered to you. You think you're going to decode the matrix reality using just numerology? You're crazy. Now, Exodus 3 verses 14, I found this, I don't know how, I was decoding and then I'm like, I wonder if I can use the abbreviations of the elements of the periodic table, and lo and behold, it spells it out. It's kind of crazy, man, how you find these things. But anyway, I am is iodine and americium. I think I pronounced it right. But the big standout is the I, which is the lightning rod. Iodine, and of course the yod in Hebrew is attached directly to iodine. So I'll ask you the question, ladies and gentlemen, who is the I am? Who do you think it is? Who do you think it is? The total number that we get through alchemy with this, going over to the trusty calculator, adding up all these atomic weights, we get the number 1181 on the masculine side and 955 on the feminine side. Remember, the Masculine is on the left side of the decimal. Like I said, when you pump gas, you'll notice that this side is feeding this side. So we know that this gives birth to that side. So the feminine's on the right, masculine's on the left. The yin's on the right, the yang's on the left. This is east, this is west. Everything started in the east and moved westward. That's how this works. So the 1181 is the big standout in this, ladies and gentlemen. And then when we break that down using numerology, 1181 is the number 69, which is the yin and the yang. That's why I got the big symbol in the background right there. So again, I'll ask you, who is the I am that I am? Using this methodology, I'm clear, as clear as day, crystal clear, what the I am that I am is that Exodus 3:4 verses 14 is talking about. But what do you see? Now, when we get into the 1181, we're going to break it down even further. We have the two hydrogens, oxygen and hydrogen, 1181. And then when we add these up using the trusty calculator, we get the number 19.019. We have a double 19. A double 19 with the pi in the middle. Pi means, whenever you have the 0 there, ladies and gentlemen, that means that's infinite. It's an infinite amount of energy. That thing contains all the numbers on an infinite level, the 0. And of course, 0 starts with the letter Z, which is a 77, which is a yin and yang. Very balanced. So we get a 19.019. And that gives us 2 potassiums, because the 19th element is potassium. That's where we get the 19.019. So you're following along with me. Okay? Potassium. And this element here, this is the last element before light enters into the heart chakra, and I've shown this. Now, potassium, when we break that down using numerology, we get the number 74, which is a mirror of the 47, which is the tetragrammaton. And keep in mind, when you take 47 and you add up its mirror 74, you get the number 121, and 121 is the all-seeing eye, because the element antimony is the 51st element, and that is the all-seeing eye. So it all links up like that. You just got to use the periodic table, tied to numerology and tied with alchemy, and then, of course, the tarot. What I thought was interesting, I decoded Jesus. Jesus is 74. In the English ordinal, Jesus is part of tungsten. In the Greek, he's 87, but the 74 is the standout. This was directly from a screenshot I took from the video I did decoding that. So I wanted to show that, the 74, which of course is arsenic, which arsenic is the 33rd element, leaning into the 33. So it's all connected. That's where the 33 comes from. Now we're going to go and decode the 19019 right here using numerology. And I'm using, because some of you, you can't just, Chaldean, it's Mickey Mouse, you can't use that one, you're cheating, and, that's why I'm going to show you multiple ones. There you go, English ordinal and Chaldean. 87, by the way, what did I say Jesus was in Greek? 87. 19019. Right there. That's what we get from 1181, the origination of it. And, 216, why is that important? That's the divine triangle. That's right on top of right on top of the White House. If you look at it, 216 is 144. John Petrie talks about it so much. They're connected, 216 and 144. So if anybody of you fancies the 144,000, what does it mean, and well, there you go. 216 and 144 directly connected. And of course, it's connected to the 19019, which is connected to Jesus, which is connected to potassium, which is connected to Jupiter, because Jupiter is the 4th planet. Jupiter runs the heart. The heart chakra is green. What is Jesus always pointing to? The heart chakra. Wow, how about that? You see how easy this is once you understand all the levels you need to understand? Can't just use numerology, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't work that way. Frustrates me, man, some of these people to think they know what they're doing. Anyway, moving along, I gave this out before asking you what you see. You know, what did the 7.016 divided by 27.977? That's 3 versus 14. That's lithium and silicon. That's the elements. That's their atomic weights, their most abundant atomic weights. And you get, when you divide those two into one another, you get 25, which is the 9-6, which is the yin and yang. You know? I mean, it's really easy to understand how to do this stuff once you learn how to use this methodology and tying science into it. Alchemy, the spoken word. We all speak spells. You gotta understand this is how you break down spells. Not just this. Doesn't work that way. It's so easy to make connections using numerology, and then I found a connection. That's it. I gotta stop. I found it. That's not the way it works. So 3 versus 14, lithium and silicon. What happens when we use numerology with the lithium and silicon? Well, we get the number 47, which is tied to the tetragrammaton, which is tied to Washington, D.C. That equals 47. White House equals 47. Georgetown University equals 47. Why do you think these people chose these words? Or because it's the tetragrammaton pulling the strings behind the scenes. That's what's going on. Running this matrix. It's so simple. All right, so we're getting into now Nikola Tesla. You know, I'll go forward here. What did he say the keys to the universe were? The 3, 6, and 9. Of course, he was missing the 12, but the 3, 6, and 9, the keys to the universe. Well, right there it is. I am. The I am. It's the I am. It's redundant because it's saying it twice. But in the scripture, it's, you know, in one of the verses, it's just I am. So it's iodine and americium. And when you add those two up, you get 3, 6, 9. There it is. There is the keys to the universe. Voila. Never seen it before until now. Voila. There it is. 3, 6, 9. I mean, it's clear as day. And then, of course, on the back side, on the feminine side, you get the 9, 6 there. So you're getting a balanced yin yang, and you know, you're getting the mirror of it right there, the 6, 9, 9, 6 on each side, and then the 3 and the 5. And I mean, if you even want to go even further, ladies and gentlemen, the 6, 9, and 9, 6, those match up, and then the 3 and the 5 come together. 53 is iodine. You know, its cousin or its sister or its brother is bromine, the 35th element, which sits right above it in the periodic table. You know, so you got to start looking at these things and taking the elements into this to break this down. Now, Exodus 3 verses 14, I was showing this in the very beginning using the English ordinal. That equals 96. There's a yin and yang. Exodus, the book itself, is the number 88 using the English ordinal. And why is 88 so big? Well, how many miles per hour did Marty McFly have to get the DeLorean in Back to the Future in 1985 to go back to the future, to time travel? 88 miles an hour. And what was the actual name of this device that was inside the DeLorean? The flux capacitor. What's that in the shape of, ladies and gentlemen? What letter does that look like right there to you? The letter Y, does it not? The letter Y as in Yod, as in Yod-He-Vah-He, as in Yahweh. I mean, do you need someone to kick you in the ass to show you what that shape is right there? Right there, clear as day, man. Hollywood tries to tell people, but they don't even pay attention. Yoda, Darth Vader, good versus evil, yin, yang, black and white. You know, 88 is 36. Jesus Christ is 36. You know? So, I mean, what is it that you see, though? I mean, you know, it's so clear as day, man, when you decode it this way. And you look at what movies tell you. I don't think producers and directors really have the final say-so in all of this. I think that the Yod is pulling the strings. Just like people think the Bible's divinely written, well, I think movies are divinely written. And it's having its fun using our matrix reality. Now, what does the tarot say about this? You know, what does the tarot say about this? Here's the third card, the Empress. Here's the first card, the Magician. Here's the fourth card, the Emperor. And what's really fascinating about this is when you decode these cards, the Empress, the Magician, and the Emperor, we get 341. And isn't that interesting? Because is that not the mirror, or doesn't that jumbled up? 314, 341. I mean, do you see that right there? I've got them in green so you can't miss it. Do you see how the Matrix talks to us using these platforms? So, look, these things, people use them for divination, trying to look into the future. I'm not into that kind of stuff, man. I just try to use it to decode the reality because they're embedded into nature. Just like the playing cards. 52 cards, 52 weeks, 4 suits, 4 seasons. I mean, it doesn't get any more clear than that. What is it that you see? I think it's clear as day what's going on in our Matrix reality. You just gotta look. You gotta just look. Hollywood tells you. The Bible tells you. The spoken word tells you. Numbers, they speak truth. You just gotta know where to look. Numbers can lie if you just sit there and try to link up numerology and 1 versus numerology 2, and this word links up with that word, and that means I can call it a day, and that's it. No, that's not the way it works. You got to bring all these elements and layers into it. But I think it's clear as day, man. The I am is the pineal gland. This is our third eye. This is what it's talking to us through. Right there. The 96 separate energies. It's got 96 petals on it for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't create this thing. This thing's ancient. The esoteric aspects of the third eye is ancient. It was around a long time before I came onto this planet and everybody listening to this video. 96 it is, man. I believe that this is what we're looking at. Mercury was talking through the bush to Moses. I mean, even the word Moses equals 39 in Hebrew. I mean, how much more clear does it need to be? But I mean, I would suggest highly you read this chapter right here. Now, look, I'm not a huge fan of the Bible because I think the Bible's the biggest conspiracy ever written. It's all astrology and numerology anyway, but it's the biggest conspiracy because it'll just keep you stuck inside and sucked into the Matrix, and you're never going to get out. And you're just going to get recycled, have to come back and do it all over again. You want to win the game of life? Understand that this is keeping you stuck inside the Matrix, and you got to get out. That's just the way it works. It's the way it works. So that's all I got for today. My name's Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. Thanks for watching.